What's going on, guys? Welcome to Boosted Motorsports. So if you are just stopping by the channel for the first time, we have some crazy Dakotas here. So behind me is a Dodge Dakota with a Hellcat swap. We've documented the whole build on this one on the channel. We've got this Hellcat swapped Ram 1500, and we're building a 1500 horsepower Hellcat right there. But in this video, we're focusing on this 426 HEMI 3-liter Whipple single cab Dakota. It is going to be getting painted, so it looks a little bit confused at the moment, but I promise this thing is going to look pretty badass once it's all done. So if you guys have been following to this point, this thing is running a Holley Terminator X Max, and it's going to be running an 8-speed automatic, but plans have quickly changed. So originally this was just going to be a 392 Scat Pack swap, but now we're deciding to turn things up a lot. So this engine is actually going to come completely out. We're going to be installing a MMX 426 stroker HEMI, and this has to come off because we need to make way for this 3-liter Whipple, this brand new 3-liter Whipple. So yeah, like I said, to say the least, it is escalating quickly. What I am going to do right now, and what I want to start this episode off by doing, is fitment stuff. This truck is going to be getting sent off to paint in probably about 2-3 weeks. So what I want to do before that is the whole engine bay is going to get painted with the new exterior color as well. If you want, guess in the comments down below what color you think this should be and what color you think we're going to paint it. Also, a lot of the parts for the 426 HEMI have arrived, but we'll save that for another video. We'll see how far we get in this one. I do have to take this off, and I need to see what kind of clearancing we have to do on this rain duct here. So the firewall's back there, so we've got room that way, but this channel here is gonna get in our way because you can see the back of this stands up like a square box. So since this one's a lot more low profile, we're gonna have to see what we have to rework there. So I think probably gonna have to, I'm gonna try to make this as factory looking as possible. You guys already know the deal with us on the channel here, but probably gonna see if I can maybe flip this or bring this back a little bit. I think we've got quite a bit of room to play with, as long as I don't start getting too close to our wiper stuff, because all that stuff has to kind of articulate under there, but that's the deal. So let's go ahead and get this intake off, and then we can lift this heavy thing over here and see where we got to start trimming and clearancing. All right, guys, so I got the supercharger ready to be lifted up. This thing weighs quite a bit, so definitely don't want to be stretching over, leaning with this thing in here. And then we're gonna lift it up, intake's off, we'll see how she fits. All right, guys, so the 3-liter Whipple is almost in. This thing is huge, but as expected, we're gonna have to kind of clearance back here. I kind of just wanted to see what this thing was gonna look like in here. The other maybe possible concern is, I don't know if you guys can see it, but the actual blower is sitting above this line. So we'll have to see once we get it fully seated in there. It'll be close. I think it might clear, but we shall see. What I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna map out what I wanna cut back here. I think what I might try to do is leave this top rail and then maybe just move this section back. So let me kind of look at it for a little bit and see what I want to remove. So I took the cowl off, and you can see there's a ton of excess room here, but I want to move it back, and then we'll probably end up boxing it back in. But in order to do that, let me kind of look at it, map it out, and I'll show you guys what I come up with. Well, guys, good news is the hood closes. I actually put a flashlight under there, and it clears. It's close. It's probably about an inch off the top of the blower there, but it does close. And I made room in the back, but now I just kind of, let's pop the hood here. And I made room in the back, but now I've got to try and make it pretty, and as you guys know, trying to make it look as factory as possible. So the blower is fully seated right now. It's sitting down exactly where it should. You can see over here his bolt is lined up where it's going to go into our timing cover. But now I gotta see, now that I've relieved this, how I want to close that in to make it look like nothing ever happened. So I'm gonna pull the blower back out of here, start getting into some metal work. That way I can rough that thing in. The truck is gonna get painted, so I'm gonna rough it in, and then you know, as long as it looks half decent, then when they get to do all the body work for this, and painting the engine bay, they can you know, do some body work on that. But as long as I get the metal work decent, then I'm sure the paint guys can do the rest, because that's what they're gonna do. So let me take this blower out of here, mess with the metal work a little bit, and I'll show you guys after a bunch of hours. I already know I'm gonna be in here messing with this. Engine and transmission is going to come out, so once I get this roughed in, test fit the blower a few times, which I will do with you guys, then I'll be able to take the drivetrain out, because this whole thing has to come back out again. So let me mess with this and I'll show you guys the progress. All right, guys, so I was just opening the box, the rest of the Whipple stuff. There's like 5 million little pieces and parts, so I gotta go through a lot of this stuff. It does come with fuel injectors, but I gotta find out what size they are. I don't see any indication on the box what size they are, so we'll have to go through that all later, because I'm guessing they're not going to be big enough. But I did get this thing in, so here she is, boys. So this thing is fully sitting down. Like I said, I ended up doing some of the work to the back there so that it all fits, and like I said, the whole engine bay is going to get painted, so I got that worked in. But once I get into, like, you know, the actual bodywork aspect of it, the paint shop can, you know, clean that all up. So once that is one color, it is going to be looking good. So got lots of clearance back here now. This thing can articulate, do whatever it's got to do. But I did just go and pick up something as well. So I took the SST. The SST is sold, so that is going to be going to our buddy Dennis. I have a separate video on that if you guys are curious. So the 5.7 stage 3 cammed SST. Let me walk right over here quickly, because I know a lot of people haven't seen a lot of the stuff, including this. We just picked up. This thing's supercharged. But this here, we got the 5.7 stage 3 HEMI with the 8-speed in here. This thing rips. It makes over 500 horsepower just with that stage 3 in it. But Dennis is going to be supercharging it. He lives just down the street from me, so this thing is going to remain on the channel, but it's going to actually get supercharged. So looking forward to that. I took that for a rip, and we ended up picking up that pallet. So here's the pallet. Let's crack this thing open. This has the short block in it, and I think I have some goodies as well for my Hellcat over there. So let me crack this open and see what's inside. Okay, so here is our brand new BGE block. So fresh from MMX. So they take a brand new block from MOPAR and then they machine it. So it has ARP main studs in there, and then they line bore it or hone it after they put those studs in there, so that that is all true. And then they also deck it, so they clean up the finish here, because the factory casting apparently is a little rough. So they clean this, and then they also clearance the block, which I'll show you later, but they clearance the block for a stroker kit. So that way this thing is just ready to go. Still gonna check all of our clearances and stuff, but at least all the major machining stuff is done. Also, a couple other things. We got 2 brand new pumps. One is for my Hellcat engine. We're building 2 BGE blocks right now. So mine is gonna be a 6.2, and this one right here is gonna be a 426, but we're putting brand new Hellcat OEM oil pumps on them. Mine's got 80K, so we're gonna go ahead and just put a new one on, and then this one, since it's all 6.4 based, we're gonna put the Hellcat pump, which is a better pump. So anyways, that's that stuff. But what I am messing with now is just going through some of the other items that come with the 6.4 Whipple kit. So when you buy a Whipple, it's set up for whatever particular vehicle, and so it comes with all the associated parts, which some of it we're gonna be able to use. They don't make a 6.4 for a Dodge Dakota kit, so we're having to use a kit that comes from a newer vehicle, utilize most of the parts, but then we're gonna have to kind of fill in the blanks. So they come with a front mount heat exchanger. Not sure how we're gonna fit this just yet. Like I said, the original plan on this vehicle has kind of changed several times. So we originally put this here, this new aluminum radiator in here. They also, the guy wants to run AC, so the AC condenser, it's not this one, I'm just using it for test fit. This one's beat up, so we're end up replacing the AC condenser, but kind of running out of room in the front here for a heat exchanger. So I know on like the, I guess 97 to 99 Dodge Dakota, the radiator runs a little bit further back, which would give us probably a little bit more room here for stuff like this. So I don't know, we'll see. I gotta try to wrap my brain around that, because right now the heat exchanger that comes with it, it's a nice unit, but it will not fit in here. So that's one factor. What I want to do now is start getting some small stuff, like take out these and start seeing where all the hoses kind of are going to land. And from there, I can kind of decide how we're going to route some of this stuff. So you can see here, it comes, you know, plugged up during shipping, and then they send you all the little knickknacks in the boxes. So there's a bunch of like other smaller things too, like the coolant reservoir, which I actually have over here. So this is our supercharger coolant bottle. It comes with the bracket. It also comes with the pump. So I want to see about kind of how it's going to land. I think we should be okay because it should mount around here. But let me get all the little fittings and stuff in here. Let's see how some of this stuff's going to start looking. All right, so just getting all the fuel rail stuff situated here. Instructions kind of show something different than what I was given. So you'll notice here in the instructions, it says to put these two plugs in the end. And then like you can see there, these two are capped off, and then there's this crossover loop on the back. But then you'll see in the picture right here, see that little 180-degree loop there? So I have these 180-degree loops. I have this really long line that apparently looks like it will loop the rail from the front. And then I have this one that will loop the rail in the back. So essentially it'll look something like that all together. So I'm pretty sure without the instructions showing it, that's what it wants us to do. And then here's where our feed will come in. So as you guys know, the newer MOPAR stuff, and I guess even a lot of the MOPAR stuff, has always been a returnless setup. Even the Hellcat stuff is a returnless setup. So it looks like they're just looping the front of the rails just to avoid any, you know, fuel starvation and kind of balance the pressure on the rails. But yeah, this doesn't show it, but what they supplied me is supporting that. So anyways, these are here, but we're going to end up upgrading the fuel injectors, it sounds like, based on the owner's plans. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to put this to the side, but at least I've got all these pieces. And now I got to I'm trying to find the hardware for this thing, because it wasn't in that box. Like each box has its respective hardware. So you can see these are little brackets. You get the O-rings for our injectors, like all that kind of stuff. So I want to find the hardware for that so we can try to mount that and some of the other stuff. All right, found the hardware for this. It was in another box, and yeah, it gets a little confusing with that stuff. So let's go ahead and pop this thing on. So I got the 2 screws there. Let me set the camera down and get those right there. All right, so that mounts there, and looks like we're good on the Dakota. You can see there, she clears. And let's just start with the other stuff. So like I said, let's pop these guys out. Ew, it is greasy. And let's put the little spigots in there, and then we'll kind of just rough in our lines. Like there's all these plugs everywhere. We gotta remove and just kind of get everything situated. So it's our vacuum port. That's gonna go over to our brake booster, PCV. These are gonna be our water cooler line. So let me get that stuff situated, and we'll start kind of plumbing some stuff. Well, rather than you guys just asking in the background, I had to squeeze everything in here. So got our new track car Z06 over here. We'll be doing separate videos on that. What I have over here though is there is just bags of hoses like crazy in the kit. So I've got them here, and I want to dig out some of them. Some of them are for PCV, some of them are for our cooling lines. So I'm gonna lay them all about, get them kind of situated. And then like I was mentioning here, as far as our front mount, I did end up ordering the other style radiator, so the 97 to 99. So got that on its way, and like I said, reason being is it will move the radiator more over here. Also, we'll probably be able to get rid of this setup. So originally we weren't really planning on going like supercharged and all this stuff, so I was kind of just basing it on what it had. But with having this front mount, and then also having an AC condenser and a rad radiator, whatever you want to call it, we can, as you can see here, afford quite a bit of room. So we're going to move everything back, and then hopefully we'll be able to squeeze this guy in here. And I got the older style condenser as well coming. Again, this is just for mock-up, just to see, even though this thing is absolutely beat. But yeah, that stuff's coming. Let me get these hoses on here and see what we can manage. All right, so spent a bunch of time getting all the hoses and stuff here. So it's a bunch of stuff, like any hose or fitting does not come installed on this. So you have to put them all in, tighten them all, get all that stuff ready to go. So we got the 3 fittings here. This one goes over to our bypass valve. This one goes over to the PCV. Also had to install the PCV. All these hoses here. And then this one's gonna go, there's a hose that's gonna go to our front mount heat exchanger, and there's going to be one that comes out of the front mount heat exchanger. We're going to mount the pump somewhere down on this side, on the driver's side, and then it's going to go up to this one. So that's that. And then there's just an overflow one here. Also had to install this fitting. This goes over to our brake booster. So all kinds of fittings. And then I did put the pulley on it. So I want to kind of see what the deal is with this. So we are using the Holley power steering pump, so I want to make sure that it clears, and it does. It is close, but we're probably going to be, if anything, going to a smaller pulley at some point too, so that'll bring it a little bit further down. But even with this one, I think this is, what is it, 3.5 inch? Yeah, 3.5, and that's probably the boost level we're going to start off with. Also, I do believe we're going to use the supplied fuel injectors for now, because this thing's already going to be a monster as far as how much power it's going to make just on, you know, low boost with the size and displacement of this engine. So what I'm doing now is I want to just kind of fit all this stuff. Again, this engine is going to come completely out to build the 426, but I want to just kind of get everything in place. You'll see we've got pretty much all of the hoses and stuff out. You can see pretty much all those hoses we have. A lot of them are on the engine now. There's only a few more left, and like I said, a couple that go to the heat exchanger. So here's the bracket. There's also some pulley stuff here. So I'm just going through the instructions. I'm going to go ahead, kind of just rough this in. I want to see how it lays out, because this is going to come here to wrap the belt around the water pump, and it's going to wrap around the pulley here for the supercharger. So it's going to be an idler somewhere around there. So let me get the bracket on and we'll see what she looks like. All right, well, the new radiator did show up, you guys. So this is the 97 to 99 version, and you can see here the mounts. It's going to mount here and go further back. So all this space here it's going to end up going further back here. So we're going to see how that all fits and works out. This is actually a 4-core radiator, so it's pretty dang thick. I'm going to sit it in here. I kind of wanted to get a 3. I think the 4 is a little excessive, so this one I believe is a 3 or maybe even a 2, but this one being the 4, yeah, definitely a big unit. So like I said, let's take this off, slide this out of here, get this in here, and see how she looks, and we'll go from there. Okay, so this is roughly the setup. So got a new condenser. The condenser comes with this plastic kind of shield or shroud, but it does waste a lot of space. So if we take this condenser off of this shroud, we can push this back quite a ways. Also, we're missing some bushings in here, and I've got to put the rivsets into the radiator support, both here and on the back. So right now I've just got it tie wrapped into place to see if this is all going to work out. It will, like I said, afford us quite a bit more room. I'm going to see if the actual heat exchanger will fit in here without having to move anything. Looks like I have a bit more room, but let's just check it out. If anything, I might be able to shave a little bit out of here, and I can maybe squeeze the heat exchanger in there, but let's see what we got. Like I said, we've got a lot more room though, because the radiator used to be directly underneath this. Now it's behind it. Also, I got to see about our fan, but this looks like we have tons of room for a fan too. Okay, and our radiator fan shroud setup will fit. We got the clearance for it, but the dimensions are a little bit different on the shroud, so probably have to do something there and modify the shroud or get a different one. But I wasn't able to find an actual shroud for the 97 and 99. They didn't include it, but it is what it is. Okay guys, so we're making some progress. So condenser's over there. I've got the radiator back in here. I ended up putting in our rivsets on both sides, so here and then also here for the older radiator setup. So that is in there, and I do have the Whipple heat exchanger here. So I got to make some brackets for it, but I just utilized one of the original brackets you can see here on the radiator, and it's actually hanging half decent. I just got a tie wrap here, but I'm gonna have to make up a little bracket. But I'm just trying to get my spacing. I think I might have to sneak it, and I still can bring it a little bit further back.
I've got maybe 3/8 or so, almost half an inch right there between the two, or at least where the two, I guess, end tanks would kind of kiss. So I could probably bring it back just a little bit, and then I can work on getting the condenser in here. So let me keep messing with that. But yeah, so far so good. This is probably going to be the ideal setup because you can see I got a lot more room in here, and I can easily sneak the condenser in there. But I want to see if I can kind of maintain this factory shroud just so that from the front of it you won't even be able to tell anything. So that's the plan. Let me keep working and I'll show you guys what I end up with.
All right, so after a bunch of measuring, cutting, and all sorts of stuff, this is the solution that I've came up with so far. I really like the way it's gonna come out. So this was the shroud for the condenser that I was mentioning. So I ended up modifying it so that our intercooler, or heat exchanger I should say, will actually fit in between the radiator and the condenser. So this is going to be the same way that the factory Hellcats are actually set up. So in the factory Hellcats, it goes AC condenser, heat exchanger, engine, radiator, and that's the way that we're going to run it on this. So what I did right now is just like I said, modified this. I had to cut a lot of this plastic out so that this would drop in, and it's going to fit really nice. You can see there lines up with the edge of there and there. And then I cut some metal pieces. So I've got this plate steel, and I'm gonna make up the brackets. So right here, I'm gonna make this so that this will go in here. I'll have to space it out accordingly just so it's just a little bit off of there. And then on this side, same deal. I'm gonna take these two, make this into a L bracket, and essentially one's gonna go there, the other one's gonna go there. I'm gonna weld those two together, and that'll give us the bracket for the other side. So let me get these kind of shaped up, fitted, and formed on here, and I'll show you guys when I get to the next step. Okay, check it out. So over here, just went ahead and made my little L bracket. So welded that up there. Now we're gonna go over, mount it, and start drilling the holes and get it fitted, and then we'll ultimately end up painting these so they don't rust, obviously. All right, you guys, check it out. If I didn't point it out, you would probably think that this is factory. So here's our brackets. They're all made up, painted, and now the Whipple heat exchanger is on here. So there's our bracket system. I gotta get one more bolts from the hardware store, but all the hardware is new. Worked out really, really well. And now this thing can go in here. So there's that side with our bracket. So it's all mounted solid to the condenser bracket system. So let's go ahead and kind of just test fit some stuff and move on to the next thing. All right, so this is back in here. This is gonna work out beautifully, you guys. There is some of the grommets missing from the bottom, so I'm gonna have to get those in order to locate everything, the factory radiator and this AC condenser, and also the grommets that go here. So I'll have to get that stuff, but at least the majority of that's done. We are doing a color change on the interior, and this truck is leaving for paint in another week or so. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take the door panels off. We are also converting to power door locks, power windows. So I need to take these off because there literally is next to no wiring going through this. I guess maybe just for a door switch. Yeah, it's probably just one wire or couple wires just for the light to come on in the cab. But let's take these off, and then we can get situated, start getting some of our wiring in order for our power windows and power door locks, and go from there. Okay, so we've got the interior panels out, took the top of the dashboard off, and then the cover over there. So most of that stuff's out, and then we're probably gonna be replacing or changing the color of this, and then the headliner is also going to get reupholstered. But let me actually show you guys the vehicle that we got to replace all these panels with. All right, so we picked this up because it was cheaper to buy this. Somebody was selling it on Marketplace. It's got no engine in it. It's just a rolling chassis with no bed. So we got the title for it and everything, so it's all legit, but like I said, it was gonna serve its purpose. So the other thing too is this part of the bumper as well. Since the other one's chrome, the car is gonna get, or truck is gonna get, completely painted. So it makes sense to put the plastic one on so that they can color match all that. And then inside here, you can see it doesn't have a bed or anything on it, but we're gonna end up using these door panels. These are all power door panels. So we need this because obviously you guys saw that this one has the crank, and then some other stuff. So the dash pad, we've got that, the airbag cover over there. So all that is gonna get transferred into the other one. And then these panels too. So like this
You can see we've got that one, this back carpet here, and I think there's some other stuff in here too. But anyways, long story short, we're gonna end up putting all this stuff in here, and then the wire harness for the power windows, power door locks, all that stuff as well. And even the regulators and all that stuff that are in this is gonna go in that. So might as well start getting some of this stuff removed. Now we can move it over, but let's get some of this stuff over and see how she looks. Okay, so door panel is off. Our window motor is here. Looks like our power door lock mechanism should be there. But the wire harness, I was just looking it up, and the part number is a Durango. And I kind of was suspecting that because this would run that way. And then I saw these all sticking up as if something for a back door or something of that nature. So yeah, Durango wire harness. So we still have to go probably to the junkyard, wrecking yard, and try to hunt down a harness for all the electronics in a single cab. So that'll be fun. But anyways, let me keep plugging away. I might as well pop off that panel and see what we got under there, make sure everything is hopefully under there, and we'll go from there. All right, so we got this panel off. We're gonna end up taking the mirrors, power mirrors. Got the glove box out. We've got the bag over there. Got this little piece here. We've already got the top portion there, and this piece that goes behind the door right there, we got that one. I'm gonna take that one, probably pop out this carpet. It's a little dirty, but could be cleaned. But either way, we're gonna swap that out. So here's a bunch of the parts laid out that we're gonna swap out. So we've got power mirrors, we've got the airbag cover there, we've got these two pieces that go down by the seat belts and the speakers, glove box stuff, vents, just a little closeout panel on the side, a couple of seat belts. Those look kind of charcoal, so maybe we'll get them redone in black because those are either faded or charcoal color. We've got the dash pad. We've got this backboard here, the black one, the black carpet. And then I took out the carpet on this thing. So again, we're getting rid of all the tan stuff. So, and then this is gonna come out. I'm not sure if Dodge or whatever makes all these panels up here in the dark color. So I'm gonna have to see at the junkyard. I know the headliners are always gonna be that color, so we'll have to probably do a change ourselves on that. And then the A-pillar covers, I don't have those, as well as the grab handles, because those are all in tan. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove this stuff, all this plastic, the seat belts, because that's all gonna come out, and then we can start getting fitted. Probably gonna have to make a run to the junkyard to get this harness. This one is just a base model one. We're gonna have to run to the junkyard to get the one for the power windows, power door locks that runs down both sides. So anyways, let's pop this stuff out and get to the next step. Okay, so I got the panels out. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea to upgrade the speakers, but for now, I'm just gonna transfer over the stock one. So we got sound, seatbelt is out. We'll put it on the other panel over there. All right, so the back carpet's in. These panels are in. That one over there, one of the tabs for the speakers is broken for the mount. I might try to see if I can find another one at the scrapyard to replace that one, just in case we want to mount the speaker. But either way, if you got aftermarket speakers, you would still have to probably fabricate some sort of mount for the speaker. But other than that, that's all in there. Like I said, we got to see about finding these two pieces if they make those in the dark color. And then let's go ahead and throw our dash pad just on top for a second. And I guess we can probably pop out that. That's the only tan thing in here, so we might as well clear out the tan with the exception of the headliner stuff. Okay, so I got most of that interior stuff back in there, but I learned something new today. So I got the glove box in, got that bag in there, and got this top plate in. But then I noticed this big gap right here. And I thought that was a little odd because the trim is here, but it doesn't meet up to the dash. So this is from a Durango, and I wanted to use it because it had this already like this wrap that was on here for this like top pad, which I thought would be cool. We could either rewrap it, but it turns out we can't use that because then we would have to use this, and this one fills in that gap, but then it's got all this extra nonsense here for rear windshield wiper, left and driver passenger climate control, defrost stuff. I don't know if this would connect to the rear defrost. And also it's got four-wheel drive knob, which we definitely don't need. So I have the bezel that would go there, but then it would introduce some weird stuff that I don't think we need. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I gotta take this back apart and take this off and put the plastic one. This one was laying about in our parts Dakota that I showed you guys. So this one was sitting there and I thought, cool, I'm gonna use this one. But turns out we gotta put the plastic one back on because, like I said, this one is no bueno. So let me swap that out.
Okay, so I ended up coming up to the parts place. I ended up getting this piece because we needed this for the one end closeout piece, and I got a bunch of these bushings and stuff that we need to convert to the older style. So we needed the bushings that go in the bottom of here for the radiator and that condenser plastic thing. So I was gonna take this top dash piece, but the problem with this one is it looks a little wavy, and I couldn't find a single cab with the wiring because the extended cab is going to be slightly different because it's going to be a little bit longer for the speakers and whatnot in the back. So, but yeah, this one, I don't know if you guys can see it, but see how it's wavy? This one's been tortured by the heat. So I'm gonna wait to get a better one, but yeah, at least got the stuff that we need for now. So let's get back, get working, and we can kind of get the front cooling system at least in place properly with the right bushings. Okay, we are back in the shop. So I didn't find a new one of these, so I'm not going to bother taking this one off and putting the other one on. The one has a small hole in it, the one from the parts truck, and the other one you saw was a little bit wavy. So I have to decide what to do there. This, I got to clean it, but that's going to go there. So that completes that section that we were missing. Whatever, that'll go in there. I do still need to find one of these, but we can always do that later. I did swap out the mirrors, so swapped out, you guys remember, it had these color matched grape mirrors or burgundy, and then I put the power mirrors from the other truck on it, so now it's got power mirrors on it. And then still messing with these, so I got the grommets, so I got all the lower grommets that we were missing in the bottom here, but I went ahead and ordered a factory radiator. So as you'll see, this one obviously is a large radiator, and I'm having a little bit of space issues, so it's just so cramped in here. So what I want to do is I just ordered a factory radiator, and I couldn't test this because again, this was a, I think this is what it is, this 2004 truck, I'm not even sure, I think it's 2004, but anyways, this is a 2000 and up. At 2000, like I said, they did the different radiator setup where the radiator was originally under here, and then the AC condenser was way out there, then there was a fan over here, and then the 97 and 99 have this setup where everything is a little bit shuffled back. So I want to get a factory radiator just to test fit it, and then if the factory radiator fits instead of this huge massive one, then we'll probably go that way. I know a lot of people might argue with me on this, but I have had multiple experiences in the past where you put something that looks really cool, looks really nice, like a huge radiator like this, and because it is so thick, like this thing here is like almost 3 inches thick. Yeah, you might be like, oh, I'm gonna have the best cooling in the world, but you put this huge radiator on here, think it's like the most badass looking thing. Problem is, you start to get into airflow issues where this thing is so thick that, yeah, maybe it has more capacity, but you can't get rid of the heat because by the time you try to pass air through 3 inches, the airflow is barely moving by the time you try to make it through this huge core. Whereas you get one that's a little bit skinnier, yeah, maybe it doesn't hold as much fluid, but air can pass through it easier and it actually cools more effectively. I've had that issue on a 700 wheel horsepower Honda S2000 back in the day. Put a big fancy radiator like this, it would run hot, put a stock factory radiator, ran no problems, no cooling issues. So, and that was like a stupid expensive radiator, wasn't one of these, you know, lower price units that these are. But anyways, that's that. So I gotta sort that out. It's in here, it's approximate. I'm gonna have to play with the room, but like I said, we were very tight on room. If anything, I can squeeze this forward a little bit, but I'm just really trying to utilize this being in the exact position that it was originally, because the funny thing is this isn't sitting back any further. It's kind of weird. If you look at the way this radiator is, because it's so big, they have it like tilted back on this angle, whereas the factory radiator is supposed to just stand straight up and down. So whatever way they've configured this massive radiator, hopefully you guys can see on the camera, it's like leaning back like this, and the bottom is touching my AC condenser. So anyways, that's the situation with that. And what I'm doing right now is, like I mentioned, this doesn't have tilt steering, so there's no tilt steering here. And so over here, amongst lots of other things and CNC ported heads for our Project Hellcat car, over here I'm messing with this. So I had to remove the shifter stock, and then I also took out the key cylinder because that was for the parts truck, and we're gonna put the new key cylinder in from that vehicle so that the door locks and everything match. This one though has tilt, so we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna pull the other one out, so I'm gonna have to take off the steering wheel, all that stuff off the other one, put the key lock cylinder, steering wheel, all that stuff on this one. So let me get to swapping it and get this on there so that we have tilt in there. All right, guys, so steering column is in. You can check it out here. So now this thing has tilt, and this is gonna make for a lot more room in the cab. So now that we've got this column switched over, you can tilt the steering. Can't really do it with one hand, but you get the idea. And I also cleaned up this. I put in that little close-up panel that we picked up. So we've got that trim piece. And again, once this thing comes back from paint, then we can put in our new carpet. We've got a new carpet over there in a box. Also have a new center console, and we can kind of finish up some of this trim piece. One other consideration too, I don't know if you guys have ever messed with this, if anybody's ever done it, but this carpet that's in the back here, it really takes up a lot of room in the cab. So, and you'll notice here that there's so much room that we could potentially bring this seat back for, you know, taller people. And this bump that's in the back here, it corresponds to this here. There's probably about, I want to say like 2 inches that if we were to remove this piece here, we could probably gain. So we might try doing something like that, because if we can get the seat to go back another couple inches, it will really make for the single cab to have a lot more room in it. But just one other consideration. So we'll probably end up maybe messing with that later. But yeah, just another thing that we've finished up on this build.
All right, guys, well, that's gonna be a wrap for this video. I wanna get this out for you guys. It's been a little while since I updated you guys on this truck. So the plan is that this truck is gonna be getting fully disassembled this coming week. So we're gonna be taking the complete drivetrain out, and then we're gonna be getting the engine on the stand. The transmission is getting sent out to get fully built, and the truck is gonna get made into a roller so that it can go and get painted. So it's gonna go get painted, and then it's gonna come back, and once it comes back, then we'll be putting in the fully built engine, fully built transmission, and getting this thing up and running. So it's gonna be a screamer. It's gonna be wild, you guys. Comment down below what you guys are thinking about this thing. Is it nuts? Are you guys excited? Would you guys do this build any different way? Comment down below which way you guys would go with this, or what you guys would do if this was your build. I'd love to hear it, but give it a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, stop by. We've got lots of stuff. This is my 6.2 fully built engine. In that bag over there is my CNC ported head. So this is gonna be a 1200 wheel horsepower plus a conservative 1200 wheel horsepower capable engine that's going into this. We've also got our Hellcat Ram. We've got a Pro-Charged Z06 with a cam. We've got the Hellcat Swap Dakota, and now we've got the 3-liter Whipple truck. So also we got a lot of parts for you guys over on Shop Boosted. We've got merch, parts, HID kits, all sorts of MOPAR stuff. So go head over there. I'll link it down below for you guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.